2003, James Blunt started to write that song. 3 years later, he released it and it became a global smash. Now, 20 years later, 7 albums in, he just released his non-memoir memoir and a new album where he's able to tell his own story his way. Well, kind of. Your non-memoir, which was such an entertaining read, but the audio version, yes.
You've read it, have you? And you've heard it.
Can we talk about you actually recording it? Was there a moment that you had maybe a little bit difficulty getting through because it was so much fun to record? Because there's just so many stories in there. I can't even imagine writing it but having to read it out loud.
Reading out your own book is a bizarre thing. It takes 3 days to read the whole thing. There were definitely moments where I was thinking, oh my God, I can't believe I wrote that down, and having to read it out loud and thinking, I mean, you know, if I'm feeling this way, what are other people going to think when they read it? And then there were some other moments which were really moving. I mean, the part about Carrie Fisher, when I got there, you know, it's hard to process grief and loss, you know, of someone who's been taken too young, and so when I got to that bit, having written it all down, I just had a moment of, you know, quietly sobbing on the end of a microphone, and the producer who was making the audio recording just let it run while I was out for 3 minutes. But yeah, it's a real highs and lows moment. It was a roller coaster reading it back.
Blunt is back not only with his somewhat memoir called Loosely Based on a Made-Up Story, a non-memoir by James Blunt, but also released his new album, Who We Used to Be, which is connecting with audiences around the world. So you have the album, you have the non-memoir memoir, but also a doc crew following you around the whole time. Were you writing the book and the album at the same time?
That was a bizarre experience, really, having people, you know, it's hard not to be self-conscious off stage, is where you're not supposed to think about that. And I kind of hoped that they would see an efficient military touring team of a band of brothers, and I would be, you know, the kind of the English equivalent of English musical Tom Cruise equivalent, and didn't really pan out that way. Watching back, it's kind of this slightly, broken family of people on the tour, 16 men on each tour bus. And rather than the Tom Cruisian figure, I'm more like a kind of, well, we have an Alan Partridge, he's called in the UK, or Frank Spencer. It's kind of, it's like a one-man Spinal Tap. It's a painful watch for me, but an entertaining watch for everyone else.
For City News, I'm Lindsay Dunn.